Good morning to each and everyone. My name is Paula Palomar. I am here to report about Azure model. The Azure model. Azure model stands for A. Analyze learners. S. State objectives. S. Select methods, media, and materials. U is utilize media and materials. R means is require learner participation. E for evaluate and revise. Let's tackle about analyze learners. So we have to identify learners. So general characteristic, we have grade, age, ethnic, group, sex, mental, emotional, physical or social problems or socio-economic level. So we have specific entry. We have competency is you have to prior knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And learning styles, we have verbal, logical, visual, and musical and structured. Next is state objectives. So when you state objectives, you must be specific. You must state terms of what student will be able to do and include conditions and degree of acceptable performance. So the objectives may be derived from a needs and assessment or core syllables stated in a textbook taken from the curriculum guide or developed by the instructor. So, once you know your students, so you can begin writing the objectives of your lesson. So, objectives are the learning outcomes that is. So, what will the students get out of the lesson? So, for the example, the ABCDs of writing objectives are: first is we have audience. So, who are your students? So, next is behavior to be demonstrated. Next, conditions under which the behavior will be observed. Next, degree to which the learned skills are to be mastered. So, for example, fifth grade social studies students, we have audience, will be able to name at least 90% degree of the state capitals or behavior when given a list of states condition. Audience. A major premise of systematic instruction is to focus on what the learner is doing, not on what the teacher is doing. Behavior. What will the learner be able to do after completing instruction? So, value terms such as know, understand, and appreciate do not communicate your aim clearly. Better define, categorize, and demonstrate, which denote observable performance. Condition. A statement of objectives should include the conditions under which performance is to be observed if such conditions are relevant. So we have to include what is condition and be observed about the performance and relevant. Degree. The final requirement of a well-stated objective is to indicate the standard by which acceptable performance will be judged. So, what degree of accuracy or proficiency must the learner display? Whether the criteria are stated in qualitative or quantitative terms, they should be based on some real-world requirement. Classification of objectives. So, classifying objective is much more than an academic exercise for educational psychologists. It has a practical value because the selection of instruction methods and media depends on what type of objective is being pursued, and so does the choice of evaluation instrument. So may be classified as the primary type of learner. So we have three domains. We have cognitive, affective, and motor skills. When you say cognitive, the learning involves the whole array of intellectual capabilities from simple factual recall to the generation of new theories. And when I say affective, learning involves feelings and values. The objectives in affective domain may range from stimulating interest in school subject to encouraging healthy social attitudes to adapting a set of ethical standards. So when you say motor skill, we have learning athletic, manual, and other such physical skills. The objective in motor skill is domain include capabilities ranging from simple mechanical operation to those entailing sophisticated neuromuscular coordination and strategy as in competitive sports. And when you say interpersonal, which involves interaction among people, these are people-centered skills that involve the ability to relate effectively with others. So, for example, when you include teamwork, we have counseling, techniques, administrative skills, salesmanship, discussion and activities, and customer relations. The cognitive domain. The original classification scheme for the cognitive domain proposed by Bloom envisioned a rather orderly progression from simple to complex mental abilities. Research over the past 3 decades suggests that the cognitive domain incorporates at least three qualitatively different types of abilities, not a single simple to complex continuum. Diagnostic categories are widely accepted among instructional design. Number 3. Cognitive strategies. The internal control processes that govern the learner's ability to visualize, think about, and solve problems. The sophistication of our cognitive strategies determines how creatively, fluently, or critically we'll be able to think. For example, to resolve logical contradiction by questioning the assumptions behind each. The affective domain. There are four types of affective domain. We have receiving, responding, valuing, characterization. First is receiving. So you must be aware of and willing to pay attention to stimulus or lesson or look. For example, the students will sit quietly while the teacher reads Longfellow's Paul Revere writes.